for live? That's just
Wait
a
a
me problem?
minute. No, it's just YouTube and OBS seem to be not. YouTube and OBS are just being antagonistic against each other as usual. Yeah, okay, now I think we're good.
Okay, yes.
What? Hold on.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on.
You're welcome. We always plan to have another returning, so might as well just do it, right? Let's see. I'm sorry, I just need to be double certain that everything is live here because be double
I
certain.
mean, it
Perfect.
is no
Yes.
longer waiting for the stream to start. I see a blank canvas.
Perfect. Well, let's fix that, shall we?
All right. So the event that brings us here today is actually about, I don't know, half an hour ago. I finally hit submit and paid Ingram Spark to publish my fourth novel.
Hell yeah. That's the one about the theft, right? The comedy one? Or was it another one?
You're thinking of Infinite Money Glitch, which was my third novel published back in December. It's a fantastic book.
Yeah, that's the one.
But this fourth one, I struggle to define because none of these standard genres fit it well. I settled on it's a paranormal thriller because it's a group of office workers that get stuck in a nightmare version of their office with no way out.
Oh.
And there's monsters and doppelgangers and magical girls and each other.
Nice. So it's a bit outside of the usual then, since you're mostly on the whole technological cybernetic, and now you're introducing some, shall we say, supernatural elements into the mix.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a standalone book. I do like switching between genres wildly. To Amazon, I publish science fiction of a very rigorous nature, although in different circumstances. But like my free web novel is epic fantasy, high magic stuff, right?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
The only genre I can't seem to write is romance, which is weird because it's like the most well understood and most formulaic genre of them all, and I can't do it.
Maybe it's because you got standards and you just can't bring yourself to do that to yourself.
Maybe.
So,
But to get you started with a direction to go to, the primary monster, the one that looks cool, that isn't just, oh, here's, a person to draw. Uh, if I said it was like halfway between an elephant and a crocodile, but with human teeth, is that enough for you to get going?
enough to try something out, and you could just tell me how it goes. Elephant, crocodile with human teeth. Okay, I'm liking this already.
There's no trunk.
No, but halfway element crocodile. I was thinking that the trunk would be sort of like the mouth.
Well, no, the mouth structure is basically that of a human. So there's some body
Oh.
horror vibes going on with this thing.
Oh.
Uh, and it has like a crocodile's type of tail rather than the little fly swatter that an elephant has.
Okay.
Also, it's the size of a semi truck.
All right. And what kind of legs are we talking about?
Elephant feet, but the anatomy structure of a crocodile.
Huh. Yeah, I can probably do something. I'm just gonna be scribbling really rough lines, and I think we can get
Yep.
something done with that. Let's see. Got some presets along with one of my previous guests, Robert Renato. He's currently helping me develop my ability to draw within perspective and such like that.
Ooh. Dude, I was trying to learn how to draw as my New Year's resolution. Oh, by the way, give it a an extended neck.
Extended neck, yes.
That's enough that it could reach through a doorway to bite someone.
Okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna give that book a good read. That'll be my first book I'll be able to buy from you. Amazon has
But you still haven't successfully gotten any of the others?
no. I don't know why. Amazon must think that I shouldn't be allowed to read, apparently. I've been trying to buy a book, and every time, like, I've made 3 attempts, and the book has been lost, or the order it doesn't get processed. It's like, okay, fine, jeez.
You might have to just buy the ebook.
Starting to consider that.
Like, I hate ebooks. I don't know how anyone reads them except for the fact that it's like a financial necessity. But, you know, they can't screw up a digital delivery.
Oh man, when it comes to me and shit like that, the chance is there. I'm gonna try again, since this is your newest book. Maybe if I try to change the book, because I've been trying to do your first book all the time now. So that
Faceless, yeah.
Yeah, Faceless.
I'm actually about to. I got to update and fix the handful of typos that have been found. So there's gonna be a second edition soon.
Oh,
Before the sequel comes out, there will be a second edition.
cool. Oh, we're in sequel territory. Amazing.
Oh yeah. Eventually there will be sequels. That's going to be my 5th novel release, most likely. Is a manhunt set inside the cyberpunk dystopia of Bastion.
Hey.
And Prime Tonight, this is the monster that built the nightmare that the characters of 5 to 4 are stuck in.
Yeah. Let's see. I like when people really give me something interesting to draw, like human elephant crocodile hybrid. Now that's the kind of shit I'm all for.
Yeah, I thought it would fit your style well.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just gonna do some really rough sketches just to get a feel of the situation. Let's see. All right. Ebooks. I mean, I'm gonna consider it, but I'll try to purchase after the stream. I'll try to purchase the newest one. What did you say the name was again?
The newest one is processing through Ingram Spark right now, which is the distribution and printing company I use. So it is not available on Amazon yet because they're still reviewing it and making sure I'm not committing copyright violations or something.
Gotcha.
Takes a couple days. It will be called 5 to 4, and I will be posting about it like crazy on Twitter and every single Discord server I'm in and so on.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see. I'm trying to make the nose sort of look like the trunk of an elephant, but we'll figure it out as we go.
I can probably help you slightly on the difficulty of the drawing, because it is supposed to have eyes that you can almost miss because they're supposed to look like that of a killer whale.
Oh.
Because it is somewhat sight impaired.
Okay, so doing shit like hole-like shades like this is fitting then.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. How big do you think the head? Would you say the head is compared to the body? Is it like oversized? Is it within realistic?
I mean, the body is supposed to be pretty big. So, you mean what you are currently drawing?
Yeah.
I'd probably scale it down 20 to 30%.
Yeah. Let's see. There we go. Around there then. Oh my god. Oh, this is nice. So.
Well, it's a nightmare, right?
I love it. I love it. I mean, all my nightmare monsters, either if they have sharp teeth, there's something that is not even recognizable to humans. But if there's human elements to the monsters I dream about myself, they always have human teeth. Always.
Oh yeah. So did we speak last time about Kingdom Death?
I don't think we did. You can go ahead.
It is possibly the coolest board game I know of, and by extension own. And the world of it is so freaking cool. And it just fully embraces nonstop monstrous body horror, because like you can tell that the creatures started as identifiable animals. Like, there's the dragon, there's an antelope, but it's by the time it reaches like what's the final state for the game, it is like human anatomy has come bursting out of it, And, like, everything's built out of fingers and lips and eyes in places they shouldn't be, and so on. And it creates just this amazing aesthetic.
Nice. Let's see. No, wait. That does sound a bit familiar. Maybe we did actually cover some of it last time. Kingdom
Yeah,
Depth.
I like to talk about it because it definitely influences a lot of my aesthetic tastes, for as much as I have them in written form, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
Uh,
always a good way to have a solid visual to go off of to base the ones you see in your head.
yep. Unfortunately, it's a a 50-hour board game that requires multiple people, so it's very difficult to get off the ground and enjoy.
Ah, has the typical RP curse, I see.
Oh yeah, I
Alright.
think it's actually once you get to mid game, it's better than most role-playing games, I would say. A really, really good game of Dungeons and Dragons is hard to top, but most games of D&D are not very good.
Nah. I mean, my best friend, a man who hasn't been able to have a job for most of his life, now finally has gotten a job and is earning money. So the first thing he did, now that he doesn't have to think about any debts and shit, he's just bought so much D&D stuff, and he's preparing for this grand campaign he's been always wanting to do.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
If I had, if my old D&D crew were still in person and not scattered across the entire country, I'd actually be building stuff again because that was my big hobby before I got seriously into writing a couple years ago. And I have for ages now wanted to build a replica of Blighttown from Dark Souls.
Oh, I mean, aesthetically, I love Blighttown. Gameplay wise, I hate Blighttown. I
Oh,
hate
get
it.
good.
I hate it so much. It's like,
It genuinely is one of the easiest places in the entire game.
what?
Oh yeah, dude, like compare that to the catacombs.
Okay, fine, fine, fine. I tend to get a little bit angry when I get hit in the back by a fucking buzzing little fly for the nth time.
Dude, they have static spawn points.
I don't get much into the technical. I just get a little bit lost in the atmosphere of the game. I'm a bit weird like that when I play video games. Though,
Right on.
though personally, I'm more of an Elden Ring kind of guy. Just finished. I
I
just managed to
haven't
kill it.
gotten Elden Ring.
You haven't? I heartily recommend it. Like, I'm mostly a Legend of Zelda fan, but Elden Ring is currently enjoying the second place in my favorite games of all time.
The reason I haven't gotten Elden Ring is because I haven't beaten Dark Souls 2 yet. And
Ah,
I confess it's because I am salty about it because they changed one specific mechanic between Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2.
okay.
There is a slight variation in stats between monsters in
Okay.
Dark Souls 2. Which means that if you're trying to get from spot A to spot B to get to the next campfire, right? Uh, and you die before getting there and you have to rerun it, there is like a 1 in 8 chance I found when I finally rage quit that one of the guys that normally takes 2 hits to kill would survive at 1 hit point and come up behind me and kill me.
Oh. Okay, yeah, that's a bit annoying.
I basically got into this like death spiral of I was so frustrated with this section because I kept dying to it that I was trying to run it faster. And the faster you run it, the more likely you are to not realize that one of the hollows survived.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
So that was like throw the controller against the wall after a while.
Oh, oh yeah.
And it was like right in the beginning. That's what was killing me was I was like still stuck with like the hatchet or whatever you get in the first area. And I just couldn't get to the next weapon because I had to get past like 15 hollows, which means there is always at least one random hollow survives and comes up from behind and stabs me.
Oh, that's bullshit. Aren't like...
I didn't even push through it because I don't know a single person who actually says Dark Souls 2 is a good game.
I think
People liked 3. 3 had some good stuff going on with the combat maneuvers. I don't know anyone who liked Dark Souls 2.
there's this one guy, fuck, I don't remember his YouTube channel. There's this one guy who's a really big Dark Souls 2 fan, and he's kind of annoyed that fuck. He's a sword channel on YouTube, and he really enjoys like the come on, the postures and the way the weapons are swung in Dark Souls 2 because they seem realistic. That's his main thing, though. By the way, does this abomination have any lips?
Yeah.
Cool. Does it smile?
No.
Okay.
It does not enjoy the fact that it is in the nightmare with them.
Wait, is a sentient being?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck. Well, okay. I mean, you already had me, but now I really want the book. I've got to admit, though, I don't do much reading myself anymore. I'm mostly into audiobooks.
Nobody does.
Yeah. I'm mostly into audiobooks because then I can just, like, draw or play games while I go.
Understandable. With the new AI stuff, that might actually be reasonable for an independent author. Whereas previously, it's like, oh, you need $1,500 to get that made.
Now that you mention it, when I listened to that audio to that book sample you sent me, those 8 pages, I actually used the Windows Word to play it off, and it worked pretty well.
Oh, so that's how you listen to my little short story.
Yeah, it worked well. So where would you say his real eyes are? On his chins, behind his eyes, or?
I mean, I almost don't want to get too much into spoilers, but you are trying to illustrate it. So when in doubt, just go for like a more human anatomy.
Yeah. Let's see. Until further notice, and maybe I could just do like an orca where the eyes are sort of behind the spots.
That'll work.
Yeah, we can try it. Let's see. Sorry, Chad, for not having read much. Got a little bit into this.
I mean, honestly, I should be responding to that. Let's see. I think Kingdom of Vinland says, I think it would be cool to see a Timberwolf mech in the livery of Clan Wolverine. What are these people doing talking about battle mech?
During Arden's stream, they were talking into battle mech, and suddenly they started to get me thinking about seeing a battle mech fighting like the tripods from the, proper War of the Worlds novel. That'd be fucking dope.
Dude, there is so much potential out there for good mech design. I actually, hot take, I hate that Gundam is the standard impression of mechs nowadays.
Huh.
I know it's a consistently good series, but yeah.
Well,
I stick by my hot take.
Well, it's not really that of a hot take, at least in my presence, because I never bothered with watching Gundam. To me, like massive, I don't like massive mechs that move as if they're tiny people. I never got behind Gundam. I never watched Macross or any of those, because to me, like, if I want that, I'll just watch Transformers. However, I want mechs who feel the size that they are, right?
Right on. Honestly, I'm not this may come as a surprise because I'm a science fiction author and a mechanical engineer and an anime fan, but I actually don't watch much mecha.
Huh.
I randomly happened to get into Heavy Object when that came out a couple years ago, and I really appreciated the fact that it was clearly written by someone who understands the engineering and also understands fan service. I'm not gonna lie, that was a obvious appeal of that series.
True.
But I liked that one because the tension was always, oh well, here, let me find a flaw in how the mech works that I as a human can exploit to destroy it, and upend this idea that all warfare is mecha warfare nowadays, and there are these unstoppable machines.
Yeah. I mean, if the kind of mechs I like are the suits, the power suits from that is it is a mech in my book at least. The power suits from Starship Troopers.
Fair enough.
They aren't the size of a goddamn building. They are sort of mobile war machines that you pilot in a very intimate way.
All right. So you know what had really good mech designs and basically nothing else going for it by the end?
What?
You ever read Gantz?
Oh, don't remind me. I hate it. I hate it.
What, you don't like the Americans clapping at the end?
I can handle Americans clapping. I just no. I tried to get behind Gantz, but it's just uh
Oh, it had enormous errors.
yeah.
Like the errors were so bad that the author literally tried to redo the series and still screwed it up.
I mean, at least he fucking tried though.
But how good were those mech designs?
I actually never got to them.
Oh, dude. Let me fix this.
Base Day, have I seen the woke Transformers? You mean Earthspark? No. I refuse to watch that atrocity. Or if you mean Steven Universe, that isn't Transformers, that is Transformers.
The weird thing with Gantz is that there's like ever since the movie came out, like a lot of CG authors actually kind of got in on making accurate replicas of them. And also, I think because after a while, the actual illustrator was just clearly using 3D models.
Okay.
So it's really weird to like find images just to share.
Hmm. Where are you sharing them? We're sharing them on DM.
I'm going to be sending them over Discord.
Lovely. Let's see. I do like the Timberwolf mech, but yeah, when it comes to like war machines, yeah, the Timberwolf mech is something I really like because it's clearly a machine, meant to be a walking machine, and is like, it's better to just have power suits, like the ones from Edge of Tomorrow. Those are nice. Let's see what others. I was thinking about something.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time trying to think about what a reasonable mech design is, because I do try to be, rigorous and accurate with my science. And I keep finding that I can't justify an onboard human.
No, I mean the best kind of mech out there we already have, and they're called tanks. You can't find it. You can't find a mech that will be better than a tank.
Basically. Well, it depends. First of all, tanks don't fly.
Well, that's true.
Second of all,
until you get the fire.
If you are in an urban environment,
yeah,
and you need verticality, they aren't very good at that.
No, but that's why we got helicopters and jet, or just soldiers with the mechanical augmentations.
So in my Bastion series, which is starting with my first book, Faceless, most engagement, like I don't know, I would probably say that most of the manpower is literally just people in body armor with their guns. But when shit hits the fan, they bring out car-sized robots, because it's carrying armor and it's not that big a deal. It's expensive if it gets shot and blown up, but it's not someone dying. And because it has all the cameras and onboard processing and perfect aim and so on, because this is 100 years in the future, it's just better at like shooting people through walls than a human would be. And that basically justifies the paradigm shift of like why they bother to make these giant intimidating robots.
Hmm.
It shows up. It's looking through every camera in the city to triangulate positions, and it's just killing people.
Ooh.
That's the kind of mech that I think is in the future.
Yeah, so it's more like a droid than a actual mech.
Right. Well, there are variants that are explicitly designed to have a cockpit, so that there's a person in there manning it and pulling the trigger. Because if you have just a computer, a strong enough AI can hack it. Right. You can't
Mm.
design a machine that can't be hacked eventually. So sometimes you want a person in there,
Yeah.
and that is how I got to mechs in my cyberpunk system.
I like it. I like it a lot. And yeah, by the way, I was about to say the best kinds. If you want a mech, you should definitely go for the Timberwolf design because that is just. It's not made to be a human. It's just a two-legged weapons platform, and basically that's all the mech I need.
Are those from the Timberwolf from BattleTech?
Yeah.
Now, I respect the aesthetics of this. I don't think the ostrich legs are going to come in the future. I do think mechs are never going to look human in
No.
any regard.
It's like I've another design is this is actually from the remake from Knight Rider from the early 2000s. You have Kit and its you could say evil opposite car, right? That thing transforms and the robot mode you could say of car is four wheels instead of legs, a robotic torso with a forced pilot inside, and then arms. And that's actually pretty mechy for me. Or the one in
Yep,
Just
that's
Cause
reasonable.
3. Yeah, you also have a mech in Just Cause 3. Just Google it. And that is an excellent mech in my opinion.
Squat, low to the ground, fast,
Yep.
versatile weapons armaments. Yeah, that's a reasonable mech design.
Yep.
Kind of looks like the ones that we're literally building, even though those are honestly some of the stupidest things. You have seen those, right? The actual giant mechs.
Yeah, the one who challenged a Japanese company or something and just got his ass
Yeah.
knocked over.
I do wonder why we haven't seen anything from like Boston Dynamics at a size larger than, a dwarf.
Maybe they're saving all the good stuff for the military.
But they show off. Like you can literally just pull up all the footage we have of current exoskeletons.
Hmm. I don't know. Maybe they're just working out the kinks. I don't know. Or maybe they've just been banned to make mechs. I have no idea.
Or maybe our research and development over here in America is just not nearly as good as propaganda would have you believe.
Mm-hmm. That seems also extremely likely. Oh, now I know what this thing kind of reminds me of. Have you seen Full Metal Alchemist from 2003?
Oh, you're thinking of Greed near the end?
Yeah, Greed in the movie
No, not
Conquer.
Greed, Envy.
No, it's not Envy. Well, also that one too, but I'm thinking about the old anime that was made while the manga was still in production.
Yeah, original.
Yeah, the original.
Envy was the androgynous one.
Yeah, but then you have Greed. No, not Greed. Fuck. You have Gluttony. In the movie Conquer of Shambhala, Gluttony is shown to have survived the series, and he comes back as just.
Oh, right. That's at like the very beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah, or the midpoint of the movie, I think.
God, it has been so long since that freaking movie.
Man, that face,
That was the weirdest way to end the series.
I know.
But it felt like it had more artistic integrity than just going the shonen route that Brotherhood did.
Kind of, but I'm a big fan of how Brotherhood ended. It gave us the happy ending we wanted, but I don't think it would have been as well received if if we didn't have the original series of Full Metal Alchemist, because it made us open for, okay, we want a happy ending, please give it to us. Because that just, the entire Full Metal Alchemist from 2003 were nothing more but gut punches and nut kicks.
Dude, Full Metal Alchemist, I think, has some of the best bloopers that we're ever going to get out of anime. Dude,
Oh.
there is just nothing like trailing out on that final scene of them laying on the roof of their house and going, "We should bring mom back."
Or when they have that when they have that goodbye scene, or not goodbye, when they're kids and they're leaving the house, it's like, fuck yeah. I don't remember how it was. I just remember Al's voice actor just shrieking, fuck yeah.
So Art Party in the chat says, "What do you think of Real Steel system of remote control for mechs?" I never actually watched those movies. That's the Rock'em Sock'em Robot movie adaptation, right?
Ah, those. Yeah. I don't mind it, but to me those aren't mechs. Those are just droids. If a mech...
So as I recall, the premise of that was all the expensive robots are using onboard AI to handle the boxing, whereas he's shadow boxing and doing direct manual input.
Yeah, because originally they were using controls on it, but at the end the control system is fried, so he ends up using using a mimic program that is built into the robot. So he basically has his last fight because he's a washed up.
Yeah, no, I like the structure of the story there. I don't think so. I think that people underestimate how much we're going to develop with was it brain machine interfaces?
Yeah.
So I don't think I don't think it's plausible, and I'm never going to write a story where someone is manually inputting commands to a machine like that, because by the time we have those machines, you're not going to need to manually do anything.
Nah, it's.
But I definitely respect the artistic vision that they went with for the completion of the story there.
Yeah, it gave that one little fist bump in the air moment, because Hugh Jackman's character was this ex-boxer, and he never really got out of his game, managed to just finish his game, at least that's how the story went, from what I could remember. And at the end there, he managed to fight the best boxing bot in the business, and in a way managed to defeat it through the main character bot. I thought it was cool.
So, were they ripping off Rocky or something? Because I remember watching that, or however much of it I did watch, and then a couple years ago, Japan put out that series Megalobox to celebrate the 40th something anniversary of Hajime no Ippo, and they felt like almost the same story in a lot of ways.
I'm not certain.
Did you watch season 1 of Megalobox?
I have not.
All right, well,
not really
sports
sure.
movies were never really my jam, so I could tell that they were, replicating an earlier story, but I have no idea which one it was.
Oh, I'm not certain. People can take inspiration from the weirdest places. Let's see. I gotta try something.
Anyways, here's a question for you, because this crosses all mediums, because I know you don't read much, but anime, movies, web novels, web comics, whatever it is that you consume. I have this gut feeling that I can't think of any spacefaring science fiction that feels like it developed all areas of science correctly. And what I mean is that, like, they will it's like stories only want to examine one development, say the ability to get to the stars, or here's a story on Earth today where we have artificial intelligences. Uh, or, here is on Earth, we will have what's the impact of virtual reality? On here on Earth, what's the impact if we have, surrogate robots indistinguishable from people? But they never want to combine these things. Like, you'll never, I've never seen something like Surrogates or whatever, or Blade Runner play out in space.
Hmm.
The closest to virtual reality, if there's also faster than light, is the simulator from Star Trek.
I can't. Yeah, can't seem to.
Futurama is shockingly accurate. Total blackout painting.
Huh. Yeah, no, I can't seem to remember any series that went that way. Yeah, because they just isolate one aspect and just stick to that.
Well, that's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, some series would try. I mean, do you count Stargate? Because they have a few.
I haven't actually watched Stargate.
Oh, I do recommend it.
Is it
fucking amazing?
A lot of people treat it as shockingly good. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, SG-1, I love it. Atlantis, I love it as well. Universe, they tried something new, but they tried too hard, basically. But
Okay.
it's worth a watch. It's just it doesn't have enough Stargate to be Stargate. And do not ever try and watch Stargate Origins, because that ain't Stargate. It's just woke bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I have one example that I'm actually going to use to defend my point.
Okay.
Because Battlestar Galactica combines, what if we're colonizing planets and jumping around, but also we're being hunted by machines that we can't differentiate from people.
Yeah.
And that's a famous show.
Okay, now this is not really a hot take. It's just my opinion, and it's just based on my own biases. I don't like Battlestar Galactica, or at least the reimagined show.
Oh, I think so I never watched the original, and I think everyone agrees that probably from season 2 onwards, like as they tried to start resolving things, it just went to complete crap.
Yeah.
Like it got really bad.
I mean, the way they just sacrificed the Pegasus for nothing. I didn't watch the whole series. I watched parts of it, and the parts I didn't watch, I just read myself up on like the wiki or other sources. But to me, I dislike the fact that they only have like a handful of battleships. Humanity on the run, as a flotilla that is under no circumstance should not even survive a single assault, especially with the setup that the Cylons defeated, and this happens in the first episode, so it isn't really that much of a spoiler. But the reason the Cylons managed to just wipe out humanity and all of its fleet is because humanity decided to go fully automatic, and only one ship left, or two ship left, had analog in them, and that's why. And that just no, that's just bullshit. I don't care how sci-fi you're trying to be. Nobody just removes an entirely emergency system of control of their ships, especially when they're fighting a robot race who are expected to evolve within the digital.
Oh yeah, that brings me back to my earlier point of like most of the time, yeah, you send the robot in to deal with the criminals, but if you have reason to think that they might be better than you when it comes to computation and processing and attacks and so on, yeah, no, that's when you send in the what I call it, the dry core, where it's a person in there controlling it.
Yeah.
Because there's less of them because there's very few circumstances where they're needed, but that the very few is not zero.
Yeah, there must always be a man in control.
So last August. I think it was August. Is when I released my second book, which is my Starfaring book, Ship of Fools.
Yeah.
And in Ship of Fools, because it's actually the future of Bastion of my cyberpunk setting, I can't have them among those stars and not have virtual reality and artificial intelligences and all those things. So and I actually somewhat enjoy the fact that I can do a lot of technological groundwork development, in 2140, and then project it out to 3000.
Right.
And one of the things that means is the plot of Ship of Fools is they're stuck on a ship awaiting rescue and hiding from enemy ships and, mutinies, Lord of the Flies type shit. But it's 1,000 people stuck in a tin can out in space with no weapons. If that was all it was in a novel, you'd actually get really, really bored of describing the same stripped down Spartan rooms that people are crammed into smelling each other's armpits.
Yeah.
However, because there's virtual reality, everyone can have the experience of being in a field, having elbow room, and so on. And I can have them having conversations, among a recreation of the Colosseum in Rome or something.
Yeah.
Which just makes it, in my opinion, a more story and more reasonable because, people are going to use technology to make them have as good a life as possible, right?
I mean, we already have virtual reality VR and shit like that, and people always want to exchange a very dour and dreary atmosphere with something better. So yeah, that is definitely something that is an extremely human thing to do.
And also, the part of the premise, the immediate plot is I'm stuck in space, right? But the story of Ship of Fools takes place in the aftermath, the cleanup of interstellar war, which is lost because Earth loses their attack fleet. And they don't know what happened. A faster than light warp gate basically malfunctions and it's just gone.
Oh.
Just poof. 10 million soldiers just go poof.
That is unnerving.
Well, especially for the 10 million soldiers who end up on the wrong side of the Milky Way for a space opera story I'll be writing soon enough.
Nice.
Which apparently has sort of already been done by Deep Space Nine.
Really? I've got to be honest,
apparently
I haven't watched
that is a plot of one of the more well-known Star Treks.
Huh. I haven't actually watched that, so I'm not. I wasn't much of a Trekkie. I was a Star Wars kid, so.
Same.
Didn't.
I never got into Trek.
Yeah.
And to answer Robert Renato, in no books published yet are there aliens. The justification is the local area around Earth. It's hard to get there through faster than light without serious effort. So Earth has been able to expand, but the wrong warp puts this fleet of humans among where the interstellar civilization is. So yes, there will be quite a few aliens and some older species that consider themselves gods and so on.
Oh shit.
Arden corrects me. Apparently, I'm thinking of Voyager, not Deep Space. As I just said, I never watched Star Trek.
So you're basically taking the Firefly, starting off with the Firefly type of sci-fi then. Humanity and basically just humanity in space at this point.
Yes, because there's a lot of potential for that kind of story.
Yeah, and also what I like is I think Dune was the first to start that off. Of course Firefly did it in a Western type, but you never really have actual aliens in Dune, but humanity itself goes such a wide way and basically just evolves into many separate species. And that's something I wish...
Absolutely.
That's something I wish more science fiction would do.
Have you read Hyperion? Or have you heard of Hyperion?
I actually downloaded the entire series, and I'm considering giving it a listen pretty soon.
Hyperion is one of the few 10 out of 10 books I know of.
Really?
And it's not a big spoiler, but in Hyperion, there's quote-unquote 2 races.
Right?
There's humans and the Outers. And the humans are essentially symbiotes with their AIs. Their civilization doesn't function without AIs anymore, and uh, it's human civilization in space.
Oh
But
wait,
the
wait.
outers,
Outers are those robot monkeys, right?
they use cybernetic implants, yes. But they gene mod themselves to do whatever it is that they want.
Oh.
With the caveat of they rejected AIs, and that's the major conflict for the setting. The characters are more driven by the conflict with the Shrike. But in the second book, it's a rather small plot point that they've encountered like hundreds of alien species and planets with intelligent life. They aren't around anymore.
Oh
In
wait,
Hyperion,
so
it's
they
human policy to let's nip that threat in the bud right now.
so basically Hyperion is like a more peaceful Imperium of man, huh? It's as if the Horus Heresy never happened.
Yes, pretty much.
Wow. Okay, I gotta
Hyperion
get
seriously
this.
is one of the best science fiction stories I've ever read, though.
Yeah. Shrike. Yeah, let's see. If I remember correctly, Shrike is this. If I remember correctly, because Hyperion Cantos delves not just into space, but also a lot of time, and the Shrike is supposedly to be this not dimensional, but like interspatial, inter time jumping, massive, sharp, spiky monstrosity from hell.
From the future,
Yes.
I haven't actually read the Endymion series that delves more into like the my understanding is Hyperion and then the sequel, just name escapes me, are like in the past essentially, and then the third and fourth books are in the future, Endymion, which is when the Shrike is created, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
Oh, Robert Renato, like this is. Do not write off Hyperion just because it's messing with time. Like it's literally a demon god traversing backwards and dragging people through causality, sort of. It is so much better than any other time travel story you've encountered.
Huh. Nice. Thank you for subscribing. Let's see. I can't see the name. Sorry.
Uh, Age of Technology Humans versus Adeptus Mechanicus. There's no mechs in Hyperion.
Huh.
Like, unless you count the Shrike, but not. That's more of a demon. uh, there's ships and cannons and all that, and artificial intelligences and power armor, but I can't remember mechs, so I would not be able to say it matches up to the 40K universe.
Actually went through a sample of it, and this is the reason why I got the entire series. Is there's this one dude who is a poet, and he is the one of those there fancy pantsy poets. He spends the most of his section of the book is just him cursing and swearing and just being a ranchy fucking douchebag to everyone.
Yep, I'm jealous of the author's ability to shift styles and tones and techniques. Like it feels effortless.
Yeah, because he changes between different kinds, because there's like these religious he changes between religious people, non-religious people, those who have and have lost their faiths, and I think what first made me know about this was Quinn's Ideas. It's a YouTube channel about a guy who just goes through every conceivable science fiction, and he talked a lot about something called the cruciform. Apparently, this
Yes.
alien parasite.
That I'm going to cut you off on.
Oh.
Because you can't discuss the cruciform without discussing enormous spoilers. Like I can say, allegorically, it's talking about faith and religion. But you gotta just enjoy at least the priest short story. It's an homage to Heart of Darkness in a lot of ways, which gets into the horrifying applications of what is called the cruciform.
Oh.
And no, no more on that because it's one of the biggest reasons to read the series.
Okay, fine. After I've finished my re-listen through the Dresden Files, I'm gonna drop into the Hyperion Cantos full speed.
Well, I mean, I would hope that you're going to pick up a book by your good friend James Krake first.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna pick up a book by James Krake, but first I gotta be able to purchase the damn thing.
Also, hello, Christopher Everard.
Hey man, how are you doing? Oh. Oh yeah, if Christopher has had one hell of a ride lately.
Oh yeah.
Turns out a bunch of cuckoos have decided that Christopher is the most evil thing since Texas.
Yeah, I actually interviewed him over on the Unreal Press podcast, and I honestly could not wrap my head around this money grifting woke nonsense as he was describing it.
Yeah, it's like I don't even he's been keeping me updated on it and it's just the most I don't want to use too strong language. So let's just say it's the most mentally deficient thing I've heard my entire goddamn life. And that's saying something.
Also, hello, Wrangler.
Welcome. Greetings, sir. And also,
He
there were.
is a pretty active guy over in the Iron Age movement. Have you been hearing about that?
Yeah,
Has
the
it broken through to the consciousness yet?
I saw oh, come on. Rageaholic talk about it.
Yep.
And
That's where it all got kicked off, and a bunch of people who are already trying to, write and create and, you know,
yeah,
rebuild culture
I
stepped
support
up.
that movement wholeheartedly. Bring back the Iron Age and then use that iron to club the others over the head with it repeatedly.
Yeah, unfortunately, the people that the Iron Age can most appeal to are some of the most black-pilled and disheartened people.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about just finding something to love when you've been black pilled to hell and back. And I say that as someone who has been black pilled to hell and back. Just to find
So
something to
with
ignite
my
passion.
books, I'm trying to mostly appeal to basically adult males. I don't write books that would necessarily put off women or anything like that, but the subjects I touch on, the structures, the plots, the character drives, it's very male-oriented stuff. And the problem is that like guys don't read. They don't read nearly the way that women consume romance novels
Yeah.
or teenagers consume YA stuff.
Yeah, guilty as charged. Yeah,
It is a shockingly common thing, but I think the tides are changing because I don't know anyone who expects quality out of Hollywood ever at this point.
no,
Uh,
I if someone came to tell me that Hollywood would suddenly change and go after quality, I would call you insane.
Apparently, the directors for the Dungeons and Dragons movie are claiming that it's not woke. However, they have in the trailers they've apparently emasculated the lead male.
Of course they
So,
do. The woke never admit that they are woke unless they're, stupid. But they will, always emasculate the main characters. That's what they do. Hey,
to
Wrangler's is
try and
back.
explain Iron Age, though, as per Christopher's request, it is in a lot of ways a rebranding of Comicsgate, except without starting politically charged, let's say. In a lot of way, Comicsgate, my understanding is sort of stalled. Like there's a few important names like Ethan Van Sciver, and it got such a tarnished name that it couldn't really grow.
Nah.
But there's no like antagonism. There isn't a big difference between Iron Age and Comicsgate, except obviously Iron Age is going to include prose writers.
Yeah. I'm all for Iron Age. We need more of that. If I remember correctly, Rageaholic is Racer Fist. That's his name,
Yep.
or his username. He is basically writing his own pulp fiction books, isn't he?
Yeah, he released two, I think. I just haven't picked them up yet.
No.
I have such a weird reading schedule, man.
I mean, you're a writer. Yeah, you got that is expected.
Yeah, well, I mean, you would think that I'm reading recent releases, but I'm currently reading Patrick O'Brien's Master and Commander.
Ooh.
Very good movie, by the way.
Master and Commander. That's the one I've seen a movie, right? That's the one on the
It's a
ship.
Russell Crowe movie with no women in it.
That's right. Now I remember why I liked it. What? Nah, that's a joke. That's a joke.
Yes, there are women in the movie. It's just, it's the British Royal Navy. It's about sailors hunting down some Spaniards, I want to say.
Yep.
But like after I read that, I'm going to read the ABCs of Reading by Ezra Pound. I've got on my list, I've got the Gulag Archipelago. I've got The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt on there. I've got I'm going to be delving back eventually to read Elric of Melnibourne. Melnibourne, however you pronounce that.
Oh, Elric,
I own the book and I can't pronounce it.
Elric, that's the one that the guy who made The Witcher kind of plagiarized to death, isn't it?
Yep. So I think I'm justified in all these selections because they're like fundamental research, and I'm trying to skim the very tippy top of quality. Like, I also read like old stuff. Next month with my reading club, we're gonna be going through the Faust play by Goethe.
Oh.
Huh. So that's why I don't read recent releases, really. Although I did read Shadam Brooks's Shadow of the Conqueror.
Oh, I have the audiobook and I love it.
Oof.
Well, hey, we all have different tastes, and I love it. It's mostly because of how the world is made and the abilities that you have. The story is also pretty good. I like the characters in it. And it's not an openly woke thing, which is also really nice.
I had some pretty big issues with Shadow of the Conqueror.
Oh, go ahead.
So I uploaded a video about this to the Unreal Press, positing a conspiracy theory that it started as a Minecraft fan fiction. It's a floating islands biome, man. Like literally, the monsters are villagers left in the darkness too long. This is totally Minecraft fan fiction, man.
I mean, it works for me though. They're basically just vampires, but called something else.
Yeah, he calls them shades.
Yeah.
The thing is, the shades almost don't even matter. Have you finished the book before I say too much?
Oh yeah, I finished the book, and of course they don't matter because the story about the book is basically about the main character's problems, and I'm just gonna put it like this, guys. We're gonna most likely be spoiling most, if not all, of the book. So if you want to read Shadow of the Conqueror, you should probably just I don't know.
I don't want to deny Shad any sales, especially because the comic is coming out this year, which I'm going to hazard a guess that Mr. Mike Miller is going to fix a lot of the issues.
I mean, I've already seen scenes in the comic that does not appear in the book, so I'm okay with that.
To discuss it without ruining it.
Lovely.
Let's see here. The magic system that Dalen has is so stupid. It's literally a do anything button.
Oh yeah, it is. But it does have it is a do everything button, but it comes in two different ways because there are two different kind of binders, and then of course you have the bringers. But it does have a crippling weakness, and that is something I really like about it. Because if you can't, I'm not against having like extreme superpower, but it is basically a story about a guy becoming Superman, essentially.
He's such a Mary Sue. It's unreal.
Of course.
Dude, he's a master tactician. He's a master engineer. He's a master sun forger. He's one of the fastest racers of skyships in the world. He knows the secrets of every political movement. He's an expert at fighting shades. He instantly learns everything about the magic system, including freaking obvious crap like, oh, what if I bind my intelligence to understand this better?
Oh yeah.
Which apparently no one else has ever done.
There is some severe Mary Sueism, but I'm still able to enjoy the series though. Still able to enjoy the story. It's kind of like, yeah, I do feel the whole how has nobody else thought about this? Why are everybody so goddamn surprised by this? But still, it's eh. I'm able to enjoy the story still because
When I analyze a story, I tend to look at it as how much different would it have to be better?
Okay.
And I don't want to talk about my opinion on the ending, even though I think it's completely botched. So I'm not going to say what the ending is, but I will say that if he ended the story with, I am the best in the world at and the most likely to take down the Emperor Sage, and that is what I'm going to go do because you need me to do that. That I view as an incredibly tiny change, which would have been so much stronger of an ending than what we actually got that it's inexcusable.
Yeah, it's I wish they also
Also,
didn't
in the
take.
beginning, he uses as a cover story pretending to be his own son. But if I posit that if he was actually the son of the Conqueror and trying to do right despite his father's sins, like if the cover story was the actual story, I think the book would have been significantly better.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So, because those two things are so simple and straightforward and obvious to affix, not to mention that he just shouldn't be perfect at everything. He should not be Rey from Star Wars.
Well, unlike Rey doesn't really have an excuse for it. The excuse for Dalen is that he has lived a long life, even by their standards. He has done a lot of things. He's always have a. There is Mary Sueism, true. I'm not gonna deny that, but it is better explained in a way. It's explained in a way where
It's
I'm
a
able.
bit better than Rey,
Yeah.
but it's also like
hey,
he's
I'm not.
better than everyone at everything.
He is a lot better than Ray, and there's a lot of reasons where he meets these other characters, like with the pirate, and during the duel,
Yes, and I think the way he killed the pirate was disgusting and should not have been in the book.
agreed. That was a bit, but then again, you do what you want with your own characters. I mean, I myself, I don't like when
That doesn't mean they're good characters, though.
Of course not. But you kill off your characters however you want. I mean, some people like to cut the limbs of their characters, and that tends to just. It's the reason why I can't fucking watch Kill Bill, because fuck that. Anyway.
But the thing is that the story of Shadow of the Conqueror is supposed to be a redemption story. And he keeps saying, but I've changed, but I've changed. Yes, I sodomized that man, but I've changed. I'm a different man.
Oh, no, actually he actually always struggles with his baser instincts to just be cruel, and he always reacts to them. That's something he always struggles with, because he has his baser natures where he is prone to do horrible things to horrible people.
Well, that means he hasn't changed.
Exactly, but he's trying to.
But he hasn't.
No, of course not.
Which means I think he has fundamentally screwed up the redemption arc.
I see it not as a fully redeemable, not as a full redemption story, because characters like Dalen can never be redeemed, but they can start the path, and their story ends when they die. So, honestly, depending on how he takes Dalen's story in future books, it will depend on that. Will truly make my mind on the series as a whole. Because yes, it has a lot of problems. It is far from a perfect story, but it has enough for me to just suspend my disbelief and being able to just get engrossed in the story.
Well, that's sort of why I'm so frustrated with the book, is because if it was just, oh, I got these magic powers, and the only thing I can think to do with them is to try and right some wrongs in the world, so I'm going to go hunt sky pirates. That would have been an amazing book. It would have been so fun.
But
But I think Shad severely overreached his capabilities.
he might, but it's his first book after all, so it'll be interesting to see what he does for the next ones. The first book is always a bit rusty after all.
Funny thing is, he's gone on record saying that he hired like 7 editors to go over it, which means I now have a wonderful example of just because I didn't pay someone to edit this book doesn't mean it would have been better.
Yeah, but it's also within taste and preferences as well. I mean, like
Right.
your issues with the book is like they stick at
It's the underlying writing.
exactly.
He executed exactly what he was trying to do. I just think that those are major mistakes.
Yeah, but I myself really don't have much of a problem with it because I got a story out of it which I could actually lose myself into and enjoy the characters, despite their flaws, and they weren't played off as being sacred saints because that's the kind of Mary Sue-ish character I despise. Is like Ray, she's perfect. Look at her. Everything she does, she's amazing. She's the best at everything. She tries and succeeds at everything. Dalen is an irredeemable monster who at the end decides to do the best he can with what he has, and he has managed to delude himself into believing that it is that he should be able to redeem himself because what is essentially God in that world has given him a chance which he reads into. I still don't know if the light is a actual thinking entity.
I don't think you're ever going to get that answered because that would if you
I'm okay with that, and
if you actually get the word of God, it's not exactly a question of faith, and now
no,
is it?
I would prefer if he never really proved that, but it just keeps on doing it keeps on hinting things at it that the light might be a sentient entity. But honestly, it's good enough for me. It is,
Okay.
despite its flaws, despite everything, Dalen is the best at everything because he's taken a lot of time in his life to try the different things he has done. He has experience of a lifetime because he never really spent any time of his life sitting on his ass. He's a master swordsman because, well, he's been fighting the Shade for years in his younger years. He became the emperor of an entire nation and just shot ahead with that. And I mean, it's explained not perfectly, but in a way for at least my brain to say, yeah, I can work with this.
So to stop throwing stones at other people, I have my own stories out there, and Robert brings up the good point of every writer is kind of drawn to making a Mary Sue because you get involved with your character and you want them doing cool stuff and being capable of cool things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly kind of surprised that no one has accused my web novel, my epic fantasy character, of being a Mary Sue. I did my best to justify it, but the problem is he's 18 years old, and in defense, he spent the last like 8 years being tutored by a wizard because it's takes inspiration from Merlin and King Arthur.
Yeah.
So for 8 years, he's been getting tutored on a swath of knowledge that he'll need to lead nations.
Mm-hmm.
So he's able to have a conversation with doctors and surgeons and engineers and wizards and so on. I just stop short of him necessarily having the solution if the solution is not stabbing something to death.
Yeah, I do see that.
Because that is his domain of power, because that's why he got chosen by the wizard, is he has Wolverine regeneration. So even if he gets shot with an arrow, trampled by a horse, or is throttled to death, he just pops back up soon enough.
Yeah. The unkillable protagonist.
Yep. So he's a good investment of the wizard's time.
Yeah, but he's not a master at everything. He still hasn't had the opportunity to practice those skills yet, has he?
So, like, for example, in Act 3 of my web novel, when he's the governor of an island, the island's main export is the gold mine, but they need to process the ore. And he's able to hold the conversation and fix the problem, because the problem is fundamentally about resources. But he's able to understand that the problem his alchemists have for refining the ore is resources. They need a bigger facility, they need more heat, they need access to the chemicals that will react with the non-valuable ore. And he's just like, well, I'm the island governor, I'm the one that controls the purse here, let me go fix this.
Yeah, but what about the alchemists? Are they, like, extremely experienced, or the alchemist? You said
Yes.
yes.
The actual alchemist working with him is more knowledgeable about alchemy than he is.
Okay, well, then it's good. He just makes it so it's easier to solve the problem then, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good enough for me. I mean, again, some Marisuism is okay if it's explained in a way that allows for at least my suspension of disbelief.
That's why I try and hit.
Yeah.
So I try to hit.
Yeah, and that is also the reason why I'm okay with the Shadow of the Conqueror, because it's very, very much focuses on the fact that he has lived a full life, has experience in a lot of things. So that's how I'm able to accept the fact that he has, well, all of this Marisui knowledge and shit. I'm sorry, I'm not really good at explaining myself.
It's all good.
Yeah. I'm not a storyteller.
Everyone's a storyteller.
Yeah, and of course, Christopher Everard has a really good point. Last Jedi is a gem because it shows and teaches everyone what not to do about everything. It is a masterclass study. What? Go on.
You only have that perspective if you have already watched the other Star Wars movies. If you were a kid and that was your first Star Wars movie, you would not be upset with it.
No, I would not. But I grew up with the prequels.
Did you watch Pokemon when you were a kid?
Of course.
Did you hear that they are retiring Ash?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Should have happened long ago, but okay.
The reason they didn't do it sooner is because they didn't intend anyone to watch multiple seasons.
Yeah, he's been 10 years for all this time, hasn't
he? Yep. That's literally their stated opinion. They are selling to 10-year-olds. There are new 10-year-olds every year. They don't need to innovate anything. They just refined the formula because it's a kids show. You know, this is why Sesame Street has 9,000 episodes. You're not supposed to watch all of them. So Disney, I think, tried to do that of, Star Wars is a family-friendly kid science fantasy adventure story. Let's just redo it. It's new people. They haven't seen the old ones. A New Hope is 40 years old.
Yeah. Though there are a lot of parts. There's a lot of parts in Star Wars that isn't kid-friendly. Of course, the old movies are far more kid-friendly, but the prequels, after Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, that just went out of the friendly for children category real quick.
About the time that Anakin became a master, you mean? Is that when it stopped being kid-friendly?
Yeah. Mr. War Criminal McGee.
It is actually insane how the prequels are such strong meme fodder.
Oh?
People... you can almost watch the entire movie trilogy through the memes people have made of them.
Well, yeah.
Cursor, I'm talking about when he kills the younglings. To be honest, I watched the prequels when I was like not even a teenager, so I don't remember them well.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
stopped being kid friendly when he killed all the kids.
I think it's not being. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the part where it really stopped, but honestly, it's when it started to get more into the solid political when the Sith, when Anakin became a Sith, that's when it just stopped being anything close to kid friendly.
Yeah. So I actually agree with Carl Benjamin's take that Star Wars is Jedi propaganda. I think he actually made a very compelling argument for uh, the things being posited as good are not actually good.
There's some truth to that, but I view Star Wars more from the side that each main faction is basically the one writing the story, right? In the prequels, it's the Republic. In the original trilogy, it's Rebellion, and they are the ones writing the propaganda. It's not a and it's not a pro Jedi anti Sith propaganda. It is first one prequel is a Republic propaganda piece, while the original is a propaganda piece made for the rebels.
So what does that make Disney Wars?
It doesn't exist.
Fair. Uh, I heard a theory that Disney might be because they need to start selling their properties to stay solvent. They might end up selling Star Wars back to George Lucas for less than they bought it.
I hope so. I fucking hope so. It is disgusting what they've done to Star Wars. And it's just funny because everybody went like, "Oh, George Lucas has ruined Star Wars," and he sold it over to Disney. And every single person I know who was like, "Oh, prequels were the worst thing ever," and who celebrated that Disney would now buy Star Wars and save Star Wars, yeah, every single one of them are like, "Oh no, I want Lucas back. I want him back, please."
Related rumor mill, Peter Jackson might be getting involved with the reboot Lord of the Rings movies. You hear about those?
I know, but seeing how he treated The Hobbit, I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
So he has apparently expressed a lot of regrets with how the CG turned out.
No, no, not just the
And I think
CG.
he is in agreement that the way he treated the first three movies was the correct way to do it, and what he did to the Hobbit was not. However, his motivation for getting involved with Warner Brothers is because people keep assuming that he was involved with Rings of Power.
Oh, if only had been involved with Rings of Power, maybe we would have got something mediocre in it instead of something so terrible.
I refuse to watch it.
Don't.
The trailers look terrible, and I agreed when all the influencers started saying no hate watching, so I didn't hate watch it. I
Nah.
don't understand why so many people still watched it to complain about it when from the trailers we knew it would be terrible.
Oh yeah. I don't know why either. It's just it pain. I blame it all to masochism. The people who hate watch it are masochists and they need something to be angry at, need something to hate, and they just need to go all the way in. They take this sick pleasure from it. But I will most likely not watch the new movies because I don't trust anyone with making a proper movie anymore. If you look into The Hobbit, you can see that they're doing the modern take of England there. People who aren't supposed to be there, right? And I didn't really care much about this before, but lately, as everything now is about color this and there and that, I'm like, no, fuck it, I'm done. I've been tuckered out. I'm out. So unless I get to see a trailer, which really catches my attention, and a written promise held by I don't know an extreme high power, that seems convincing enough for me. Written that it is not going to stray away from Tolkien's vision, then no. I love Lord of the Rings
To
too
hold out
much.
and see.
Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings too much to want to do that. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I've given up on the industry. That's why I really want this Iron Age stuff to take off and for people to engage with it and, you know, support it. Uh, because I just do not trust corporations to do anything of merit anymore. And we got to start over, basically.
Oh yeah. It's like
Did you hear
Ultron.
about Roald Dahl?
Of course I heard about Roald Dahl. We talked about it on this.
Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, Matt.
But yeah, so like that was one man's artistic vision that got after his death transferred to a holding company, basically, and then they sold it to Netflix.
And Netflix does what Netflix does best, ruining everything they touch. I mean, I'm a Norwegian. Of course, I know about what happens in Roald Dahl. I mean, even our publisher, Gyldendal, refuses to accept the changes because why do we want a censored version made by someone who is an oversensitivity writer? An oversensitivity checker, or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Dude, sensitivity readers are such a scam.
Well,
Uh, they used to be called subject matter experts, and that's totally reasonable. If you have someone who still identifies as a subject matter expert, they are you should probably seek them out for their opinion. But I'm talking about like, oh, you're writing, a killer who is suffering from schizophrenia. You probably want to consult like an actual psychiatrist, right?
yeah,
That's not a sensitivity reader, though.
nope. I just despise it. They take what first of all it's just the expression, artistic expression of someone who used to live in a different world, a different time, and just oh we're gonna modernize it by our modern standards, not really mentioning that their modern standards is in itself a fringe opinion that nobody in their normal minds would give half a shit about.
It's quite literally 1984 newspeak.
Yeah.
It is a language in the world where every year the dictionary is shorter.
Mm-hmm. Of course, here though the dictionary is much longer because they're adding a bunch of imaginary words which means nothing, or taken words that already mean something and changing the meaning completely to mean something degenerate or effed up. Because when I've just given up seeing modern movies, modern series, I just can't anymore. Which has brought it brings a little conflict with some of my friends who, bless their hearts, aren't really caught up in this stuff as I am. They are able to see like the new movies of things and be able to enjoy it. I can't. I'm
I can
unable
enjoy
to.
anime.
I know.
Anime is great.
Well, anime has its own problems, but then again, there are more gems in anime than there are in Western series. That's for certain.
I really need to figure out what. So, the Japanese creative industry has flaws. I can't say it doesn't have flaws. We all know that there are people literally working themselves to suicide.
Okay.
However, they are the only country in the world, and I mean Korea is catching up, but Korea is doing the same thing. That they're the only country still producing quality.
Yeah.
So
We have to wait and see how that goes because Japan is starting to have the same kind of infection. Their
it's
political
hard to tell whether it's an organic development or if it's literally corporate diffusion from America.
most likely the latter. It is I think it was the prime minister or something that said that they're going to strive for a more inclusive and accepting something something. It's a while ago, so I'm just paraphrasing here. But
See you, Christopher.
Bye, Chris. And also, of course, Wrangler left a long time ago. I don't know if
Yeah.
I managed to say bye then. I'm a good host, I swear. uh,
Marco, you want to pitch your stories? I say go right ahead.
Go ahead, man.
While he's typing that up, I think there is a fundamentally different structure in how talent gets developed and cultivated between Japan and America.
Okay.
Well, let's ignore political subversion for a moment. They are literally just better at constructing stories than we are.
Yeah. Yeah. At least now they are.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about current day, and I'm ignoring literal who's such as myself when I'm making these country to country comparisons.
Yeah. You're just going by the standard, right?
I suspect that the difference lays in the funnel. There is an established ladder up from nothing to, a billionaire.
All right.
Although obviously there's only one Oda and only one Akira Toriyama and so on. But in Japan, everyone knows that you start with writing. And you start by writing free stories on web novel platforms. And you do that again and again and again until one catches on enough that a publishing company says, we're going to assign an editor to work with you, and we're going to print these into books. And then you do that for volume after volume after volume after volume until you have a big enough audience that they basically assign it, they find an illustrator that wants to work with you, and it gets turned into a manga. And then you serialize, and maybe you jump series, and you try your hand again and again. You keep rolling the dice to get one that really catches on. But after mangas, you get an anime adaptation. And at that point, you just pray to God that you get enough sales across the previous mediums that you get picked up again, and you get more money and more money and more money. But every step along that way is basically a quality filter. In America, to get into Hollywood, your first step is to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to a university to get a useless degree from a professor who knows nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hope that you have networked and have the right skin tone that you can, through nepotism, get into the interviews to even be the writer on this show of someone else's franchise.
Yeah.
And then we all run around and act surprised when they can't write.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. You hit the nail on the head there, actually.
Or maybe that's just me coping, because I think that's how I need to grow an audience, is through building on, this free to read web novel, which hopefully pulls people into my standalone novels on Amazon, which hopefully will let me land positions such as, Shad is trying to do a Star Wars knockoff that he wants an extended universe for. Okay, that means he needs writers for it. Rippaverse needs extra writers to make a competitor in size to Marvel and DC. That's more writers that, if I can establish myself and get in on that with a good idea, I need this background of success in writing to do that.
Yeah. Or you could do there's sort of a success story in Vivian, the one who made Hazbin Hotel, and Hell of a Boss.
I actually never watched either of those. I don't know much about them.
I think they're kind of funny. Of course, they're modern, but they're still able to actually be entertaining, at least to me. It is essentially the new side of how you make series. It is a passion project, but the creator has managed to just signal boost themselves, managed to network with other people until they found people who could just help them up. Of course, they have been through the grind in Hollywood too, from what I could understand, but she is mostly self-made, and from that she's actually made herself into something a bit taller than what she would have been what she used to be. I'm really not good at explaining this crap. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. By the way, Marku posted their pitches.
Yeah. Would you mind reading those?
First one, Cold War African nation in the middle of a civil war. You need to narrow it down a little, sir. Mercenaries and blood diamonds. Okay, so that's an incomplete. That's not a pitch. That's a setting. A pitch has to be, this is the character, this is what the character wants, and this is why they can't get it. Maybe here's a bit of flavor. So, you know, Blood Diamond, for instance, is, if I recall correctly, because I haven't seen that in over 10 years, is a journalist appalled at the conditions of the people, falls into danger because of these mercenaries that are getting funded by, you know, Soviet-affiliated countries. That is a character with a desire and a reason they can't get it. That's how you need to structure a pitch. There's nothing you can't even judge a setting as a good setting or a bad setting. There's obviously a lot of conflict in that kind of country and time, but what you intend to do with it and how well you know it, I can't say from that.
Yeah.
Second one, small frontier town in Arizona in early 1930s, gang of escaped convicts armed to the teeth versus a retired old school ranger, basically a western with machine guns. That is a full pitch. And I kind of have to say that I don't know enough of the westerns to tell you if that has already been done to death. I have actually not watched any spaghetti westerns in my life, I think. But that sounds like the kind of thing Italy would have put out.
I think it could work.
It could work. It depends on... there's a number of ways that could go. It seems like they're leaning into the stoic gunslinger, too old for his time, jaded, is forced back into it, you know, like...
the newest Rambo movie, sort of. That tried to do something similar.
I didn't watch the new one, but there's probably a really good Hollywood comparison. John Wick keeps coming to mind because I like the John Wick movies, but that's not really the same. Because the character John Wick is not as old as Keanu is.
Nope. Okay,
but that kind of pitch would need some flesh to why the guy's forced into fighting it out instead of leaving. You know, why the convicts have to be there, and what normalcy is at stake for the old man. You know, does he have a family there that he needs to protect? But there's plenty of potential that can be built on there.
There's also a new movie coming along that is kind of similar. It is, I think it's actually made. It is made by the guy who made Django, I think. Guillermo del Toro, if I'm right.
I'm not familiar. I've heard Guillermo del Toro's name, but I don't know what movie you're talking about.
He makes different. He's the one who made Inglourious Basterds. He's the one who made.
You mean Quentin Tarantino?
Oh fuck, Quentin Tarantino, motherfucker. Yeah, no, del Toro is.
Oh, you meant Django.
Again, me and names is a horrible thing.
You meant Django Unchained.
Yes, I did, because I'm dumb like that. So, the point is, he is making a new, I think it's him at least, that's making a new movie about a Finn fighting the Nazis. And it looks pretty cool.
I heard about that.
Looks pretty cool.
I got it described as John Wick, except knives instead of guns.
Yeah, I mean, he's Finnish, so that explains the knives. Never challenge a Finn to a sniper contest in the woods or a knife fight.
Oh, that reminds me. To jump back to anime, just because I'm like actually very frustrated by this.
Go on.
I tried watching Records of Ragnarok.
Okay, can I just stop you there? I hate it. I hate the concept of it. I don't want it spoken in my stream. Please don't. I despise it.
Records of Ragnarok?
Yes, I despise it.
Why?
I hate it.
Can you elaborate?
I don't like the way they portray the gods there. I don't like the way they just no. I'm kind of a purist when it comes to Norse mythology. It's one of the reasons why I despise Thor in Marvel. So no, I don't want to see it. Besides,
Well, it's
I got
absolutely terrible if that makes it feel any better.
good. I just dislike it so much.
I gave it the 3-episode treatment, and it was Thor versus Lu Bu for like 4 episodes actually. And I think over the course of those 4 episodes, there were 4 attacks made. It was like it was slower than Goku fighting Frieza.
Yeah, and they threw punches and fired lasers.
It was so much useless backstory, so much useless crowd reactions. How could they have possibly screwed up Lamau? It's literally just a tournament arc. Let's go. How do you screw that up?
It's not just that. It's the whole series is Lamau. It's a tournament.
Yeah, and there was like no fighting. 4 episodes, and there wasn't a good fight sequence.
And it's fucking Thor. No, just no. Again, the guy who made Records of Ragnarok should have all his everything that is related to drawing and writing should just be burnt.
So I like Kengan Ashura and Baki, even though they're some of the stupidest stories, but they're fun.
Yes.
They deliver what they say they're going to deliver.
Remember, guys, you can cure fatal poisoning by drinking a lot of sugar water.
Okay. It fits the logic of the series.
I know but then again, Baki is one of those. It's so cool. It's stupid, but it's so cool. It gets a pass. I mean, you got this overly buff American Vietnam vet who is the greatest, who has the title of one of the greatest kung fu martial artists ever, and he swam across the goddamn Pacific. I mean, my favorite though is everything, including Spec. Just everything about him. The last thing he did before he fucked up to Japan was to almost break the Statue of Liberty. I'm sorry, it's just that is one of those. It's just pure enjoyment to look at it. It's just awesome. It's stupid and it's amazing.
There is a certain kind of talent to write that kind of campy pulp.
Yes.
A lot of people try and not many succeed.
It's also the drawing
and it's glorious style. When it succeeds.
Exactly, and it's also the drawing style, like the overly emphasized muscles. Like just look at the what the hell is his name? You know, the Baki's father, the ogre.
Like, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, whenever he flexes his back, it is
it's a demon.
Yeah, and everybody's fucking shocked. And also this dude was political in the best goddamn way, because during the election in 2016, he made 2 separate shorts because America has a ceasefire agreement with this guy, right? So both Hillary and Trump has met the ogre and told
Yujiro.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yujiro Hanma.
There we go. And they all have just pledged to not fucking engage a war with the guy. It's just, I just fucking love it. It is stupid, but I love it. And also the art style. I just love it. It's again, it's campy. It's over the top. It's sort of like old JoJo.
Dude, I am one of the people that I just can't stay with JoJo's.
No,
The magic is just gone nowadays. And Netflix screwing up Stone Ocean's release did not help.
nah. I still find some enjoyment in JoJo, but I prefer. To me, though, it should have just. The best season is still the second season. What's it called again?
Uh,
When they fight Aztec bodybuilders.
Battle Tendency.
Yeah, Battle Tendency. That was the best part. Just, you know, it's a it's a cyborg Nazi fighting with a British guy and an Italian who have this super breathing technique that causes vampires to melt and catch fire.
All right, so Joseph is the best JoJo. I do agree with the masses though that Stardust best part.
Well, I mean the return of Dio, dude, is like everything about that. It's just glorious. I mean, the series was about that. But I prefer the, yeah. I can't. Battle Tendency, yeah. But that's because I was a big fan
Battle
of the,
Tendency was really good.
yeah. But that's because I'm a big fan of Hamon. Though I really do like the stands, but the stands become a lot more interesting after part 3 though. Just saying. Their designs, their functions, he started to be Rocky became a lot more creative with the stand fights afterwards, but he started to make in the characters. First they started to become like scrawny, skinny, no meat to them, from like super buff to like now they're basically femboys, every single one of them.
Well, that's what sells right now, ain't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, I think literally the newest his newest part, Jojo Land, is about a transvestite too.
I mean, dude, if he had, well, I don't think that's exactly unreasonable given what else has been in the series so far.
Oh no, it's Araki does it. He doesn't do it for the Hollywood reason. When Araki does it, he does it for Araki reasons. He
Yeah.
he gives zero fucks. It's been evolving into a more effeminate or androgynous style, and that I do not believe that is a woke thing. That is just a style change of Araki himself.
Well, I mean, that's another thing about the Japanese industry versus the Western industry. It's still Iraqi. These franchises don't get handed off to other people.
No.
Like we're not gonna bring up filler arcs in anime, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Uh, there's the classic example of how do I get started reading Batman? Oh, well, I mean, like, so you need to look at this branching timeline, and this is really good, but you could go back to the beginning, but don't go all the way back to the beginning. So those are the comic magazines where it was done. They didn't really know the format yet, so you want to start to this reboot. But to understand what's going on over here when these characters get introduced, you have to read this other series. How do I get started with Dragon Ball? Chapter 1, bro.
It's simple. And that's the bonus about mangas, the simplicity in it. And I mean, here's another one though. You have Demon Slayer. That's one, in my opinion, a one of those manga stories that got better as it got along. Because there are also a lot of good spin-offs. One I think is about, the flame sword guy, Rengoku, I think, or something. There's a good one where he fights a former samurai who just summons guns from his blood or some shit. It's cool. The
There is something odd about a very long running series by the same guy. And I think Berserk is actually the best example because it's so obvious how much Kentaro Miura evolved as a creator uh, before he even got to the Eclipse.
Yeah, I love Berserk. Honestly, it's one of my favorite stories.
The Black Swordsman arc is basically a different series.
It is. He was getting into his groove, and he actually found it during the Golden Age arc.
But is that bad? It's kind of the weird thing. Is that we still treat that as well? Yeah, you start Berserk from Volume One, Chapter One.
Yeah,
Even though everyone, I think, is kind of says, yeah, that's probably some of the worst stuff in the series. Except for some people are still mad about the Sea Pirate arc.
I don't mind the Sea Pirate arc. They're kind of weird out of
If you
there,
were
but
stuck on it during releases, it was really bad.
yeah, I kind of did. I gotta be honest, I'm a bit new to Berserk. I knew about Berserk. I watched the anime, but since the manga wasn't done, I thought, screw it. I'm just gonna wait until it's done.
Um, I think there's something to be said for you could almost tell someone to start with the Lost Children's arc, and right at the end of that arc, treat that like it was the Black Swordsman arc and go back to Golden Age. That might work,
I
but
would.
I'm not sure you'd actually appreciate Lost Children correctly, and that's the best part of Berserk.
Lost Children is fucking fantastic. Its brutality, it just shows the descent of of how bad Guts just gets down into the darkness. And it's also the perfect reminder of why Guts needs his new companions. Hell yeah. But I am not against the Black Swordsman arc because the Black Swordsman arc has my favorite apostle in it, aside from motherfucking Zod. But my favorite apostle in the series is the Slug Apostle. Because out of all the apostles,
I think the Count Otho or something like that is the best person to have been driven into a corner by the Bellet, except for yeah, Femto.
yeah, but he just shows, he sets it up so well for the whole. It becomes better. It just explains Griffith's rise into Femto. Again, I just love how the slug. I just call him the Slug Apostle because I keep forgetting the names. So the Slug Apostle is just a perfect villain before the Golden Age arc, especially when he is used to introduce the function of the bailiff.
Yeah,
And especially, and the best part is when you see him how like stereotypically anime evil he is, right? Tortures people, call under the auspices of them being heretics, and just devours people alive, tortures them, rips them apart. Hardy, hardy, hardy! Look how evil I am. But then you have this moment, just out of, at least from when I read it, it just came complete out of left field, where he goes into the room with his daughter, and she is just so scared of people that she still recoils from him. Of course, everybody recoils from Apostle to a certain degree, and it's his reaction to his daughter not wanting to touch him is just, you can see he truly loves her, just like he did his wife. But then at the end, after Guts has his merry way with him, and he gets the chance of becoming reborn as reborn as an apostle, you think the Slug Apostle will say, do the evil thing, say yes, and have another fight, but he says no. He just says no, and he has already said how he doesn't want to die, and he has been shown literal hell swirling just meters away from the guy, being given a perfect description of what's going to happen to him should he choose to go there. Because that's the two alternatives he have. It's either sacrifice his daughter and be reborn, or go to hell. and he chooses hell instead. I don't even think he even hesitated that much, and he chose eternal damnation instead of sacrificing his daughter. Whereas Guts just was using her as a shield. Of course, that was a really good way to just show Guts in a way. How black his heart could be at certain points. Because when he was using her as a meat shield, he had the full intention of killing her. There wasn't any feint to it. He was actually going to kill her if it meant they had to do so. No hesitation. Guts is, as the Black Swordsman, a monster that is on par with the apostles themselves, if not worse, in certain aspects at least. But here you have like an irredeemable monster being far more human than he is. It's just cool in my opinion. Sorry, I kind of waffled on there.
No, it's fine. I do think that Berserk, give it a few more years for influences to filter out. Just because when one work influences another work, it does take time, especially when you get to the second layer of influence. Like, Berserk obviously was one of the main inspirations for Dark Souls.
Oh
right?
yeah. I mean
so how many people are going to be inspired by Dark Souls? And when are those stories going to start coming out? They probably already have started. There's just not many super good ones yet.
Nope.
I think that as we look forward, the consensus is going to become that Berserk is the foundational example of the fantasy genre.
Yeah.
I think it's going to eclipse Tolkien.
In many ways, I view Tolkien to be the best high fantasy, but to me, Berserk is the best dark fantasy. And it's actually, depending on how they do these next chapters, might actually become my favorite fantasy story.
It already is my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
One of these days, I do need to reread Lord of the Rings because I read them when I was a kid.
Right?
So I do need to go back to them and try and give them an adult assessment, and not just rewatch the very good Peter Jackson movies. But I think Berserk is going to come down for me as better.
Yeah. I'm not gonna challenge that even. I mean, yeah, I can't really find any words for how much I love that show, how much I love that series. Because the characters are solid. I mean, the best example is the villain Griffith. To me, a series is made or unmade by its villain. And Griffith is, from the very start, a villain. Many people might say, oh, Griffith did nothing wrong, that meme. But
well, it depends on your morality.
It's kind of true there, yes, but Griffith is and will always be a villain. He was a monster and was willing to do horrible things for his goals. But you could understand the point behind it. Again, that's why there's so many people who actually think that Griffith did nothing wrong. Because of the things he did, the purpose behind them. It's sort of ends justify the means kind of thing. Right?
Well, Berserk is obviously based on Nietzsche's writings.
Yeah.
The entire premise of the schism in Golden Age between Griffith and Guts is about the Nietzschean theory of what is a friend.
Yeah.
And both of them are like the definitions of great men, of Übermensch, as Nietzsche will put it.
Yep.
And they're just like two variations on it, and that's why they are pitted against each other. And I struggle to name another series that grapples with philosophy like that without obviously grappling with philosophy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, it's obviously based on these ideas. Oh well, I guess I have to name the Matrix is obviously based on philosophy. It's just I've read what they based it on, and I think it's fucking stupid.
By the way,
Oh,
before I continue here, what is the skin color of this creature?
elephant gray.
All right.
I actually never say what the skin color is in the story.
Oh, okay. Then I'll just.
I believe that the less you know about the monster, the scarier it is.
Ah. So he's one of those striking from the shadows kind of creatures, then.
The introduction is he's already killed someone,
Oh.
and the characters just turn and run.
Again,
So yeah,
I do love myself a good monster story. It's one of the things that keeps me going.
dude, I'm so sad that the consensus seems to be coming down that Cocaine Bear was like unfulfilling.
I haven't seen Cocaine Bear, so I can't really make an opinion on that, sadly.
A lot of people basically said like this was a B movie premise that just didn't it just wasn't enough of a B movie. It didn't have the campy appeal that it should have.
Okay. Hmm. I kind of want to see it, but I tend to watch these kind of movies with people, and my best friend just didn't want to watch it. So I need to find someone else to watch it with here. I got some other
And
friends I'm gonna ask.
unfortunately, no one I know in person actually wants to go to the movies anymore.
Hmm.
I can't even blame them because they're just so often terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm most likely just gonna wait until Cocaine Bear comes out on whatever platform and then just watch it there.
Fair enough.
Note how I said platform, keeping that one open there. Yar. But
I just got around to watching The Boys.
yeah, that's an example of when a adaptation surpasses uh the source material.
I have no idea what the source material is.
It is the worst, most wannabe edgy comic you'll ever fucking read since The Crossed. And if you haven't
Okay.
read The Crossed, you've done yourself a favor. It's just. I'm just gonna say The Crossed though. It is people suddenly start developing a cross-shaped rash in their face, and they just do the most edgy wannabe dark shit that is like eating babies. Everybody gets raped. Ooh, look at this. So edgy, so
It's,
dark. It's
to be
just
honest, I have not read many comics. Like I've participated and consumed some story times here and there on the forums. Uh, I never got into the comics though. I was manga from middle school. Like as soon as I had an internet connection.
yeah. How do you pronounce that? Aristides? Aristides? Yeah, he's got a point. This thing looks like one of the Q malformed humans from Old Tomorrows.
I'm not familiar with All Tomorrows.
Just go to YouTube. Either read the book or go to YouTube and check out a guy called Beware the Q. It is essentially a story about post-humanism where humanity was invaded by a. Now this is really just TLDR. Humanity was encountered by a zealous, hyper-religious alien race which just didn't like us at all and decided to either wipe us out, and those that didn't wipe out, they just restructured and genetically modified into completely different creatures.
Is it good?
I think so.
Yeah, cool.
Though of course I've gotten all that from the channel Beware the Q. I recommend it. He goes into detail about the different post-humans and their fates and what happens through the millennia with them. Really like good old-fashioned 50s, 60s sci-fi, 80s sci-fi.
Oh, it's that old.
Oh yeah. I don't know the book itself, but it's just it it has that should I say good stank of proper sci-fi. And it gets really creative and flexible. I mean, this here is it's totally right. This reminds me about one of those monsters or post-humans from that book, and they just get, especially when you get like into further into the evolution of the post-humans, when you meet creatures like the Gravital, that just gets fucking weird, dude.
All right, dude. I have read a lot of science fiction, but I feel like I have read the very old stuff and the very recent stuff, and not much in between.
Hmm.
Like, I've read well, obviously I've read Neuromancer, William Gibson. I guess that's in the middle. But like, I've read the P.K. Dicks, the Bradburys, the Asimovs, and all those guys. And I've read like recent award-winning science fiction books. Spoiler alert, the stuff winning awards nowadays
Yeah.
is really like it's technically well written. Like the actual structure of the scenes and the stuff and so on is good. Like I can't say it's not good on that level, but the stories are stupid.
Yeah, you get the sort of the copy of a copy feeling from it. It's sort of like a clone, just further and generations away from the original.
The easiest example to complain about is the three body problem.
Yeah.
By Xijin Liu, which is actually a Chinese guy that got translated and marketed to high hell by Tor.
Yeah.
You familiar?
Yeah, I've heard about it. Again, it's one of the series that Quinn Diaz talks about a lot. I haven't read the book, but he covers it and he is really into it. And I the things that Quinn discusses really seems cool, but there are aspects about how humanity reacts in that series that I don't like.
So I've only read the first book. I've had several people try to argue that it gets better later. But the entire premise of the first book, and there are spoilers because it's terrible. I don't want anyone listening to this to go read it. It's terrible. The first book is set up like modern science cosmic horror.
Okay.
It starts with the Chinese Cultural Revolution, right? And that's interesting that I'm surprised they were allowed to print that. But when it got good is when it started. It gets into this mystery plot of why are these quantum physicists killing themselves, and it poses the idea that the fundamental axiom of science that we have been operating under, that these natural laws are constant over time, we may have just proven that they're not.
Okay.
Which, if you're familiar with these things, poses some very big disasters of, for example, as a simple example, people talk about what if the poles flip on Earth, and well, that would just destroy everything because for a period of days you'd have no solar shielding.
Right.
That's just like one example of it's a rule. In this case, the local electromagnetism just stopping for reasons outside of our knowledge and power. No way for us to predict that happening. No way for us to do anything about it. But it could also be like, what if gravity just turned off?
Yeah.
What if gravity suddenly tripled? We don't actually know that gravity has any reason that it would be constant over time and space. So what if we just tripled gravity one day and fell into the sun? And it posits the idea of there's this cadre of elite quantum physicists trying to suss out a secondary layer of fundamental laws that would transcend these perturbations we're seeing, so that we could model a prediction and future and survive these kinds of cataclysms.
Okay.
Which I say that's freaking cool. And then the end of the book is, lol, JK, it was aliens lying to you the whole time.
Yeah, the Trisolarans thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, they were just screwing with you.
Yeah.
Natural laws are totally constant over time. No big deal.
Of course. And also, there's the whole world. From the description I've heard, the whole world seems so very Chinese. Like the government bans a thing, and everybody agrees. No discourse, no resistance, just absolute.
Honestly, by the time that kind of stuff was happening, I was so checked out, I didn't even care.
Yeah.
The guy also can't write a likable character to save his life. You can have a gun to his head and say, make this person empathetic, and he would fail.
Of course.
But that's winning awards. That's a bestseller. That's going to get Hollywood adaptations. Because, oh my God, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
What wasn't the?
It's so amazing.
Wasn't the Wandering Earth or something the latest big thing from China?
Not familiar with that one.
Essentially, something happens. No, I don't remember what it is, but something happens, and wait, does your creature have an eye color? Specific eye color?
It would be white sclera.
All right, thank you. Just the entire eye white then. Oh, works for me. Makes it easy. Lovely. So far, are you happy with it?
That's looking scary.
Nice. This thing is the size of a truck coming after you guys. Oh man, I like it. Man, this is a creature I can get.
The interesting thing is, it's actually so large that there's quite a few places where it can't get to because they are trapped in a building.
Right.
So there are specific areas that it can get around and surprise them and like crash in through walls and such. But if they're like in the cubicles, it can't exactly get through the doors. So they have safe spots that they're coming and going through the, through safety, right?
Oh, dude, this shit is some like kind of like Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 vibes. I love that. I love that a lot.
Yep. And of course, just because the monster builder can't get to them doesn't mean the doppelgangers can't.
Doppelgangers?
Yeah, that's the rest of the threat.
I like it already. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing when this book comes out because I'm definitely gonna buy this one.
Could be April 3rd. And a reminder to everyone listening in right now, this is not just hanging out and chatting about stories and such. I need y'all to buy my shit and leave good reviews.
Do your duty and help this guy out. Can we consider you part of the Iron Age movement?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was one of the first people on ironage.media. I had, I published Ship of Fools incidentally, like the week after Razor Fist put out the call.
Nice. Well,
and I'm an independent author trying to take back, cultural territory.
Nice. Well then, guys.
And I am planning to get into editing because that is a really big shortcoming right now. Nice. I don't mean my editing because I consider myself pretty good at editing. At a developmental level, and I'm comfortable with my ability to copy edit right now. Other people desperately need an editor that is not going to force woke agendas on them, is not going to, put it through Grammarly, then charge them $300. And $300 is cheap, given the absolute scams going on Fiverr. By the way, please, no one use Fiverr for anything ever. It's just scams.
Nice.
Um, I have this theory that, generally speaking, like right now, the only people marketing themselves as editors actually good enough to help charge more than an indie book is going to make.
Huh.
Which is why I don't generally advise authors in the Iron Age to get an editor, uh, unless they have a lot of money to burn.
Yeah. Also pointing out that our dear friend Arden Party is a freelance proofreader if you need that.
Correct. At I don't know what his rates are nowadays. Um, but Arden is not a Fiverr scam.
No.
Can confirm.
Arden is a good boy. Can be confirmed by me, James, and every other member of the Sultanate. The Sultan's crew. Yeah, we're cool. I promise. Let's see.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that need developmental edits though,
Yeah.
which I think I can offer, and I'm going to get in on that later this year, I think.
Nice. Very nice.
I would do better for it. The more people I can get on my side has actually good, because there is nothing worse than accidentally discovering the person you've been getting advice from is a failure of a writer.
Yeah.
Like most, like if you go on YouTube and search up tutorial advice, or if you buy a craft book, that person's primary income is probably those tutorial things.
Yeah.
It is insane how much of a scam it is. Like there was a Ryan Long skit about it, where he did like how to get rich by selling tutorials on how to get rich.
Yeah, because try to get rich, guys. This gonna totally work for you. It's not that this is part how to get rich. Better how to fool people.
Scam money out of a bunch of people trying to get rich.
Yeah. The try to get rich story is actually what he's doing right there. It's not what he's talking about, it's what he's doing. Buy my book, guys. I promise it'll help you.
No refunds.
No refunds, of course. Believe me, guys, this will help you getting rich.
Yeah, like I can't imagine you've ever done this because you're not a writer, but if you search like top 10 ways to improve your dialogue, you'll get like 1,000 people making lists with advice, but they're all just repeating each other and none of them are selling books.
Yeah.
Or if they are, it's selling them to would-be writers trying to find out if this person is actually giving good advice.
Yeah. I sort of have an idea myself to write, but I'm not really there. If I'm gonna do any writing, it has to be with a ghostwriter where I just dump all ideas onto him and have him do it. That's a collaborative effort more than anything else.
Pace, they've learned a valuable lesson. He bought a book on Amazon 3 months ago called How to Scam People, and he's still waiting for it to arrive.
Should we tell him or should we let him learn it himself?
I think he needs to learn that lesson himself.
Yeah. Keep waiting, Based. It'll probably be there soon. The thing is, though, that book actually gave him what he wanted. It gave him the lesson, not the book itself.
That's even more valuable.
Exactly. The real scam is the scams that we got all along the way. Oh boy. Oh wait, that's the wrong one.
So that short story that you read of mine a day ago,
Yes,
you liked it, right?
I did. I mean, first it started off as sort of this schizo thing. It's like, oh, she's dealing with a crazy ex, and then it's like halfway through this, so what are you trying with this? And then everything turned fucking weird. I liked it a lot.
So that was a short story that I'm actually going to try and send to like professional magazines for the clout and credentials because I'm actually very confident with that story. I think it came together really well. and it hits on so many things that people are already familiar with. Like the thing about Google search.
Yeah.
There's that line about halfway through where it's just like, there's supposed to be 85 million search results for fantasy book recommendations. Why can I only possibly pull up 400?
Yeah.
I got those numbers because I searched fantasy book recommendations, and Google said there was 85 million results, and then I kept pulling up more results, more results, more results, and it stopped letting me pull up results after 459.
Yeah. The funny thing is, he has a point there, and that's probably the best part is how you just put in a lot of your own frustrations into Holden and his rants. And that's the part where it's like, I want to listen more to what this guy has to say.
Yeah, I was able to tread that line between, like, is this a schizophrenic hallucination of his, or is this legit?
Yeah. I mean, first...
And
go on.
so, the like the groceries. When is the last time you saw your neighbors bring in their groceries?
Yeah, I mean, had I heard that story in a different state of mind, I would have gotten a lot more paranoid.
Uh, well, the thing is, the rational response is the response that Mary gives of, well, it's not weird to not see them bring in groceries because you would have to also be outside on the once every few days moment where they bring in groceries. Like it is unusual.
Yeah.
And you just need to like try and accurately estimate when the last time that should have been, and humans are bad at math. That's all it is.
Can confirm.
And then he's just like, so I broke into his apartment. No one was living there. The TV is on a timer. What the fuck?
Yeah. That's when the part where you start to be able to at least be able to suspend my disbelief and get that ending to really hit hard. It's like, oh, okay. Did not see that one coming. Even though thinking about it afterwards, it is a bit obvious after you reading it the first time. But after you read it one time, but you can clearly see the hints, how you're building up to that ending. At least to me, but I'm just gonna admit I'm no expert in any of this, so.
So the biggest hint through that short story that, me and you are the only ones that know about it, but through the entire time, it's a schizo guy has kidnapped her, and she keeps trying to do things to get the attention of the police, and the police never show up.
Yeah.
When you get to the end, you're like, oh, that's why the police didn't show up. Oh, geez.
Yeah, that was it made a bit sense now. But again, you used the whole tried to hit different cars, but the program in the cars made them avoid the getting collisioned or getting a collision or some shit like that, right? So you managed to explain it in a way so we didn't start to suspect much. At least I didn't, but yeah.
That was the goal.
Well, for my case, you did pretty well, man. I thought it was really cool.
The catch, though, to this whole thing is that entire story came into my head basically in one moment because of a prompt I saw for a competition, which I actually won't be submitting to because it was for Antelope Hill, and they're like very openly, extremely far right.
Oh.
Which would not be a good idea for me.
No.
You
don't answer extremism with more extremism.
Yeah, that's a bad time.
Just be yourself. That's it.
A lot of it though, like the dialogue. If I listened to craft advice, I would have to cut probably 30% of the words spoken because you don't need those words to convey the same information. Except having those kinds of wordy explanations is how people actually talk. That's how you evoke the memory in the reader of that time they were talking to like a whacked out conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. I've had a few conversations with some of the quote unquote crazy locals here in my city, and he was a yeah. Though you didn't really do the whole you didn't really get him to do the creepy thing that a lot of those guys do, where they constantly step closer to you to get closer into you towards you. You know, a really unnerving
Fair
thing.
point. Hard to do that when they're seated in a car, though.
Exactly, but he did lean into her a lot. So you kind of got that one there. It's just
Yeah, the breach of personal space is like that evokes unease in people.
yeah.
And that's another great example of no craft book is going to teach you that. You need to learn that from reality.
Yep. But then again, you also have to have proper experiences with people. I've been out, I've talked with people, I've met many kinds of people, like good people, bad people, people I rather just keep the hell away from me. You know, a little bit of everything. But you did get some of the unnervingness from him, and within the limits, you managed to do at least for my part. I want to if you put it out for people here to read, I want to recommend to give it a read because again, for me, it was a good one.
I because I want to get it professionally published, I probably can't share it too much. Because these dinosaur publishing houses, like they view it as they're buying first publication rights, and if you put it on the internet somewhere, that was publishing it. Therefore, you can't sell us first publication rights.
Ah, right.
So that said, I have developed enough confidence in my writing that I think my biggest hurdle is just getting people to try my writing, as that's the best proof that buying my books will be good use of their money and their time.
Yeah.
And to that end, actually, I should probably be shilling the various anthologies and magazines I've been published in, because 2.5 or so weeks ago, the Unreal Press put out a horror anthology, Tales of the Unreal, and I am I'm like the fourth story in that, and I've been getting some great reactions on that. That's a pulp horror story I wrote set in Soviet Russia,
Oh.
as a assassination attempt by the Americans goes horribly wrong because of a monster horror.
Ooh. I love a good monster story. I mean, there's a reason why I
Uh,
fucking love Resident Evil, man.
Believe it or not, I've never actually played a Resident Evil game.
Me neither, but that's because I'm a little pussy.
Yeah.
I'm gotta be honest. It fucking terrifies me. Whenever I try to fight a zombie in a game like that, it's like, yeah, okay, now's a good time for my muscle to seize. Oh, now it eats my face. Glorious.
Dude, for a moment, or so I played Amnesia: The Dark Descent when it came out with my friends,
Oh boy.
and when we were like we all made a night of it, and there was like 6 of us took turns playing it in the dark, of course, with the other 5 people screaming at them. Uh, and that was great. And then I tried replaying it by myself. In you do all the aesthetic stuff, like you turn off the lights, you do it in the middle of the night, you're all alone with your headphones on, and it when I played it by myself, I so quickly figured out what the precise mechanics of the monster were that the horror was just gone.
Yeah, also maybe you got a little bit of insulation from the night before with your friends too.
Oh, true. Did you play Amnesia, or do you just know Amnesia?
I've known Amnesia, and a friend of mine had it, wanted me to play it, and when the first abomination came screaming towards me, I turned off the game.
Yeah. Well, what you didn't realize because you did that is in the whole game, like the entire game, there's like 4 times where it can actually get you.
Okay.
Out of like 20 puzzle rooms, it's like 4.
Huh.
I was told that it was like an intelligent AI that hunts you down, and you need to like go faster the puzzles before it shows up. No, it literally can't spawn for most of them.
Oh.
I was also told that you lose the game if you spend too much time in darkness, because you'll go crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe they patched that out or something, because when I played it by myself, it was like a year later or something. No, you just get insects on the screen. There's literally no reason to use the lamp at any point.
Huh.
Yeah, it's literally the longer you're in darkness, your eyes adjust to it. They built in night vision, so if you just abandon the light, you can see just fine and do all the puzzles.
Oh. Huh. And here I thought that the crazy mechanic was actually, there.
Nope, complete. It was a complete scam.
Great. Well, it was an old indie. I do want to actually say one thing though. If you want to play one of the remakes of Resident Evil, go for Resident Evil Remake 2. Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Okay.
It has.
I do need to start a gaming channel or something.
Oh yeah. It has less content than the original, but it is faithful enough. Faithful enough to the original. However, Resident Evil 3, it just skips. It is a remake of the third game in the series, which is also the shortest game in the series, and it even reduced like all the different endings and shit like that. So they just Resident Evil 3 remake is not worth the money unless you get it on like an extremely cheap deal. But I'd rather just say buy Resident Evil 2 remake and just enjoy that one, because if you're a fan of body horror, the G virus got you going. If you're a fan of zombies, the T virus got you. And also you have the ever-present threat of Mr. X. Until you figure out his mechanics, but in the beginning, X gonna give it to you.
I hear it. I've been told that because I've seen discussions on how to speed run Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
The way they programmed the artificial intelligence, if you miss your shots, you actually decrease the zombies' accuracy.
The grabbing accuracy?
Yeah. Because they try to build in this like self-adjusting difficulty slider, where if you convince the game you're terrible, they make the game easier.
Yeah. If you die a lot, they just offer you to just give you decrease the difficult for you and give you a assault rifle with ammo. Hey, if you're a little bitch, hey, take this.
Yeah, that's what speedrunners do. There's like one section where they intentionally die 3 times, and it just it's like on the third life, they just don't spawn half the enemies, and suddenly you can just run through a different path.
Yeah. There's also another one where you have a zero death speed runs, and those are really interesting to me.
All right, cool. Dude, I love speedruns, and obviously some games are significantly better than others because was it Super Mario 2? Or not 2, Super Mario World.
Yeah.
The speedrun is like 10 seconds.
Wow. Also, you have Legend of Zelda has some really good speed runs on it.
It used to.
Ocarina of
Arbitrary code execution is horrible to watch.
Yeah. I'm not much into. Oh, sorry.
I researched a lot of speedrun texts, incidentally for my own entertainment. But I got to the point where I was like, I have to do something with all this knowledge, and that's a lot of where the material in my third book, Infinite Money Glitch, came from. Because the characters are inside a video game, which is like obviously poorly programmed because it's been through so many like studios and changes and patches and DLCs.
Yeah.
That there's just glitches and exploits that that some people know about.
So it's a more believable Oasis from Ready Player One. Because you told me there's a lot.
Don't get me started on. Can we not get into Ready Player One? That was such a shit show.
I kind of like the book, but that's because of
the book had like nostalgia autism.
Oh yeah.
Which made it good. And somehow they didn't recreate that in the movie.
The movie is a terrible thing that should not have been existed at all.
The book gave me nostalgia for a decade I didn't even exist in.
I know, right? Hey, the even series there I didn't even know existed. The book itself is I liked it. It's not terrible, it's not bad, and also I have a bit of a different connection with it because it's something me and a very close friend of mine were really into back in the day.
Right.
But enough about that.
So, unfortunately, yes, there are some similarities between Infinite Money Glitch and Oasis. Um, like for instance, every player making money is a live streamer of it. Like several named characters are live streaming their playthrough as they're doing the dungeons.
Okay.
Because that's the culture we're in today.
Yeah.
Most people play video games vicariously at this point.
Yeah.
So one of the characters is a speedrunner of the game. Then there's a dress up fashion player bot. And then there's other people that are like using it to make actual money because there's an exchange rate between in-game gold and US dollars.
Yeah.
So I get to dabble in a lot of real things that actually happen, bring up famous glitches and exploits, and the whole heist because it is a heist novel is structured after the GameStop short squeeze.
Short squeeze.
Oh yeah, remember when Diamond Hands apes together strong when Reddit almost crashed the entire stock market?
Oh yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah. I still have the sea shanties. I love them.
Yep. So that was the structure of the story there.
Yeah.
Was oh hey, we just found this guild of players over leveraged one of the rare boss drops, and the system is contractually obligated to buy more of these diamond roses than actually exist. We get to set the sale price. Hold on, what?
Oh Lord, beautiful. Good times.
So yeah, to those of you listening, if that at all sounds fun to you, please check out Infinite Money Glitch, because that was a hell of a fun book to write, and I do want to write a sequel to it, but I don't want to release a sequel to the unsuccessful book, let's say.
Well, as soon as possible, I'll buy it. Though, fortunately, I can try to buy that one, and fortunately, say, hopefully, Amazon will screw me with this one. If not,
Telling you, man, you might want to just get the ebook.
yeah. Hell, if I buy the ebook, I can just use the text on a text-to-speech, so I can actually listen to it too.
Yep.
That works too.
Get that membership to 11 Labs AI or whatever, and have Cortana read it to you.
Cool. I mean, I've already played Halo with Basics. I'm used to Cortana telling me things.
Dude, Halo was past tense was so good.
I know, right? It was beautiful. And of course, after Halo 4, everything just went downhill. Some people say it was after Reach. Personally, I think it was after Halo
4. As a fan of the original tie-in novels, Reach did itself dirty.
Oh. Wait, the
I
tie-in
read
novels?
The Fall of Reach by Eric Nyland when I was in high school. It was significantly better because the Fall of Reach is Master Chief's origin story.
Yeah. Wait, didn't some... I remember some people saying that Fall of Reach weren't impacted by Halo Reach.
What?
I saw this in a discussion once about when I considered once getting the audiobook, but got lost with other stuff. And one guy said, oh, Halo Reach doesn't affect the Fall of Reach audiobook. Again, this is a while ago, though, so it might be just one guy coping.
I'm not sure about that. They contradicted Cortana's origin story, and the Spartan 3s were not supposed to exist yet.
Oh,
Is certainly not on Reach because they were an advanced force for Suicide Squads.
oh,
Oh yeah, no, dude, Halo has some of like is like dark sci-fi,
it is.
which needs to be a genre, delineated like dark fantasy is, because the humans in Halo during like real Halo are fighting a losing war and doing anything they can to not face extinction.
I mean, they are literally kidnapping children, turning them into super soldiers whose sole purpose is to give humanity a single edge over the alien covenant.
Right.
And along with that comes the fucking flood. Out of nowhere, just there to kick both sides in the balls.
So good, dude. The Flood are, as someone currently writing a zombie apocalypse, the Flood are the best version of zombies to ever be written, in my opinion.
Yeah. They're awesome creatures. I mean, the flood, I'm damn certain, I haven't seen any proof of this, but I am damn certain that the flood are the inspiration for the necromorphs in Dead Space.
Probably.
Oh yeah. I mean, the hive mind, the grave mind, greater intelligence controlling the dead or converted flesh of the living against themselves.
I mean, things always get a bit messy when you say what inspired what, and how do you know that, how do you know that Dead Space took inspiration from Halo instead of what Halo took inspiration from? Right? But
Halo, back in the day, back in the day when the wikis actually were made by fans who cared about this, about the material.
sure.
Halo Wikia mentioned how the guy who made the flood were inspired by a alien race called the Vang, Vang, in if I'm going to use Norwegian pronunciation, the Wang, and they are from a I don't know what sci-fi series they're from. I couldn't find it when I searched of it, but there's this one picture in one of their book series where there's this one parasite leaning over the head of a dude, and it just gives me such infection form vibes. I think actually the book is called Combat Form or something. Man, now I got curious.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's like
I think a lot of people nowadays get very sticky about saying what they're inspired by. And possibly that's, I think that's something that you can actually blame the consumers on. Because anyone listening to a pitch wants to hear it as, oh, so it's like this.
yeah.
Oh, Halo, Space Marines, that's just like 40K.
Yeah.
And that just kills the person that is trying to be unique.
Yeah, but then again, it is the modern problem of nothing truly being unique. But it's just about how you implement it and what kind of story you make with it. Because, whenever I check out a story, I check it out in its own merits. And when I do these, when I say, oh, it's sort of like this, I don't do it as oh, it's like that. I'm doing it because it helps me, at least for me, set the stage, because I like to compare things to things I like.
Yeah, so consumers do mean it well. Like, but that doesn't change the fact that the creator is going to like take direct psychic pain from it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that, by the way.
Oh no, it's fine. I have gotten over that because honestly, I want people to make those comparisons because it helps me explain it to other people in the future.
Oh, that's good.
But like, I'm weird.
Well,
Like most people are going to get touchy, especially if they kind of really shamelessly rip something off. Like I would imagine, the God, I can't remember. Scoresguard. Who's the author that wrote The Witcher?
oh yeah, I don't really care much about
Like
the guy.
Alexander Scoresguard or something like that. I don't know. The guy who wrote The Witcher probably isn't going to really appreciate people pointing out that it's an Elric clone.
Yep. I think he has reacted several times to that actually. He doesn't like to be reminded about that fact. But then again, it's an Elric clone, right? There's a
All right,
difference
sorry.
between there's a difference between
Anders Sapowski is the guy's name.
there's a
Sapowski.
but the thing is there's a difference between having a something in the same genre to something that is a blatant copy. And what he did was a blatant copy. What you have done most likely is I'll look forward to actually reading it now. Uh, you have something within the same genre. It isn't like you have what? It isn't like you have taken Mogworld or Ready Player One and just written the same story, just with different
Dude,
names.
shout out to Dog World.
Eggs.
Dude, I watched the shit out of Yahtzee Croshaw back in high school.
Yeah.
And then, like, corporatization got him or something like that.
Maybe. I have no idea. I stopped watching him after 2015, actually.
Yeah, that's about when I stopped, roughly. Or I had petered off, and I cut off at that point.
Yeah. I have no
Uh,
idea
it,
why. I have no negative opinion of the guy. Sometimes I watch his videos every now and then because, well, the old ones are the funniest one, at least.
so I mean, like, I think the company just got woke as shit,
Oh, they did. They did.
and he was not a woke person, but I just think he didn't. I always got the impression that he was making enough money to do what the company told him to do.
Yeah.
Um,
He did. I mean, he doesn't signal the flag, at least from the few modern things I've seen. He doesn't wave the flag as vigorously as everyone else does, but neither does he take a stance against it either, so. He isn't intolerable, at least, but it's nothing new, and he is
he
overly
continues to
careful.
work at the same company that employs extra credits.
Yeah, they're people I despise.
You can't make a race of horrible, brutal thieves. That's racist to black people.
Okay, who's the racist here again? Genius? Christ. They had this one good series, Extra History.
Dude, they did such a good take on the Punic Wars,
It's just,
and it just went to absolute garbage.
yeah, they should have just stuck to history and shut up about video games. Especially when the one of the signs early is with Persona 4. But hey, I'm not even gonna go into that one. It's just the lamentations of 2013, eh? Here we go.
Robert, a Vang is the inspiration for the Flood from Halo.
Yeah. And yeah, the series is called. It's a novel by Christopher Rowley, the Wang, the Military Form. Yeah, you can actually get it on Amazon and Goodreads, and it has a 4 out of 4 or 4.4 or 4.5, 4.4 or 4.1. So apparently it's pretty good.
Dude, reviews are so inflated. I genuinely blame IGN.
Oh yeah. IGN, I despise them. But the thing is, these are old reviews of an old book, so I'm a bit more, inclined to believe anything said by them than anything made in modern times.
Well, it's not like a political agenda. It's just that, like, as soon as searchability became a function of rating, like, implicitly, review rating stopped being accurate.
You got a point there.
So I published my epic fantasy to Royal Road, one chapter a week right now. What do you think my rating out of 5 is on there? Actually, I'll first ask, what do you think I think the accurate rating of my story is?
Can I search it up? Let's see.
No, no cheating.
Okay. I think that you're okay. Are you an openly political person? First of all.
I if asked, I will say I will be upfront with my conservatism.
Okay. I would say you
But
probably.
this is not about politics, though.
All right. Maybe I'm not certain because I haven't really gotten to the main books, but I would say maybe a 4. Probably.
I would honestly rate my series as like 3.8 out of 5.
Okay.
What do you think my actual rating is?
Let's check it out. If I can find it. There. Oh, 4.8 on Amazon.
This is not a 4.8 out of 5 story.
You got 4.8 on Amazon.com.
No. I'm talking about my web novel.
Oh, that one. No, I haven't. Fuck, where did I put that link?
It's also a 4.8 though.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is because people who want to support just give it a 5. Because when someone is assessing a story, if it has less than a 5, they think it's unreadable because they know people supporting it work give it a 5.
Hmm.
It is a self-creating cycle of you either liked it or you didn't. But there's some people that still show up and give accurate ratings, which can nuke you in the algorithm.
Okay. Well, honestly, this shit makes sense. Though it is just, I'm not so much into this kind of thing yet, so I'm a bit fresh on this. I fucking hate algorithms, man. Suck.
Dude, people talk about the coming cyberpunk dystopia. We literally already are in one.
Yeah. And unfortunately, our evil overlords aren't dressed in cool suits and smoke cigars. They're a bunch of soy-drinking latte boy toys.
I don't know what you're talking about. The evil overlord I know about is from Ravensburg, and he dresses in a black robe and he's bald.
Okay, that's kind of cool, though. All right, I am starting to run out of power on my tablet, and we have... Oh,
All right, that's good, because I'm actually starving. I desperately need to go eat lunch.
this was a really good talk, man. I
Yeah.
can save the rest of it for a future stream if you want.
Well, I'll probably just hit you up. Yes, Marku. Because I definitely want to get a copy of that once I have a pre-order link for my book.
Hell yeah.
Because, you know, advertising. I need them sales.
Yes, I'll help you with that as much as I can. So yeah, then it's a bit abrupt, but my tablet is slowly dying, and I'd hate to get a black screen from this one, and then you guys like, okay.
Right on.
Well,
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for chatting and such.
it's been a
I hope we
pleasure.
entertained the viewers.
Hope so too. I want to thank everyone for coming along. Arden, Base, Prime, Marku, Robert, also the guy who subscribed. I didn't get to see I didn't get to see your name pop up because the screen is too damn small, so I didn't get to see it. I'm very sorry. Astradides, Tolback Painting, and every other name I'm butchering because that's just my style. Thank you for dropping in, and thank you, James, for joining me on this one. I'm looking forward to the next one. Hopefully, we can maybe get one done next time I'm back from the ship, which will be in about a month's time. So
Have fun with that.
Yeah, it's been fun, and thank you very much for joining us, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and until next time, have a good day. Bye-bye.